All right. Now with that, if we can get some literary music up, I'm sorry I didn't put that in the engineering Slack. Mia's going to tell us about books.
Yeah.
Here, Mia. Take this microphone.
Okay. I'll go grab a miner. All right.
Yeah.
Should you call a miner?
Can I keep sitting? Because
Yes.
I don't want. All right. Cool. So off the top of my head, immediately, because I've recommended this book to everybody, but it's it's called Darker Shade of Magic. It's by V.E. Schwab. It's the first of a trilogy, and it is probably, I don't really like fantasy. It's kind of notorious. I'm not a Tolkien-esque fantasy person. This is a fantasy world I adore. It features 4 universes, 4 Londons on top of each other with varying amounts of magic and people who can pass through them. It has awesome female characters. It has awesome queer representation. And it's just like phenomenally well written. And yeah, I just can't say enough good things about it. So that's Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, which is 1. 2 is, for a little bit of nonfiction, The Disaster Artist, which is coming out as a movie very, very soon. And before you see the movie, you really should read the book. The book is by Greg Sestero, the guy who played Mark in The Room, infamously, who is actually friends with Tommy Wiseau in real life. They met in an acting class, and he was kind of fascinated by Tommy Wiseau, and so it is about their friendship, and it is about the making of The Room, and it is hysterical. I got a lot of looks on the train reading this and laughing and trying to suppress the laughing. So that's the second one, and then third, may as well, I'm trying to like comb through. I organized my bookshelf by color, so I'm trying to go through where they are. I'd say The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, which is by Michael Chabon and is just phenomenal. I laughed, I cried. It is a loose telling of actually Captain America, who was created by 2 Jewish boys, cousins, in New York during the Second World War. This is about 2 cousins, one of whom is from Poland, who come together. They create the Escapist is the name of their hero, and it resonated with me quite a lot because they're both Jewish, and one of them escapes just as the Nazis come in, and it really reflected how these 2 guys wanted a hero. They wanted somebody who could, in their imagination, go and fight where they could not. Right. So it's not a fantasy, like it's a realistic fiction novel, and it will rip your heart out, but it's so good. It won the Pulitzer Prize that year, and it deserved it. So yeah, those are my 3.
Hey!
Yay! So as a review, because I talked a bit, yeah. So Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab for your fantasy nerds and girls or people looking for awesome feminist representation in genre fiction. The Disaster Artist by Greg Sestero if you're wanting really hysterically funny nonfiction, and The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay by Michael Chabon if you want awesome historical fiction about comic books.
So while you still have the mic,
Yes.
The American Gods, written by Neil Gaiman.
Yes.
Are you a fan?
I am, yeah. I did like it.
I read the book and loved it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the TV or the live series or whatever it is.
Yeah. I've only seen a couple of episodes of it, but it's so good.
Is it good?
Yes, you young men.
Have you read Roadside Picnic?
No, I don't think so. I have not. I took a tally over in my brain, and I realized I basically did not read any bound books in 2017 so far. But no. Yeah.
For context, Roadside Picnic is a book by the Strugatsky brothers, and it's the source material for the Stalker game and Tarkovsky's movie.
Yes. Well,
they're making a mini series out of it, and it looks kind of cool.
Well, and I was saying I basically only read fanfic this year, but that might change.
It's not a big read. It's really, really good.
And this is not to say that I haven't been reading. I've been reading a lot of very good fanfiction.
See, we told you it was out there.
All right, I've got some other challenges queued up, but another challenge that's coming that people asked about is somebody asked for people's album picks of the year. And I have a lot of opinions, and I know Leah has a lot of opinions, and I see Matt furrowing his brow.
Because I'm trying to think of whether
Alex
my
has some
only
opinions.
album came out this year.
So if anybody else in the room, I'm sure Andrew, who's just popped off stage, might have some opinions. G just leaning around. I don't actually know Colin that well, but I don't know if you're a music person. No,
I am, but
you are, but you're shredding. All right, well, okay, Alex, you seem like you had a lot of ideas. Do you want to go first?
Actually, there's one that I want to do. It's,
Yeah. Let's talk. We talked about books. We have had Richards. You've missed Kathleen's Trivia Challenge. Unfortunately, but it will be back tomorrow. It's every day of Desert Bus. How great is that?
Woo! Are we all checking
We
our
don't
top?
have to recommend Mouth Moves because it's the best album ever made.
You can do 3 recommendations.
Oh, that is a true fact.
It's very good.
All right.
3 mix?
I was going to talk about Trevor Something. The album is called Does Not Exist. It's a lot of remixes, but man, I listened to that a lot. It's very good.
What kind of music is it?
Genres include synthwave, post-punk, new wave, and electropop.
3 mixes. Like you
Yeah,
said.
it's electronic, and I don't know
He
your
does
I don't
listen
know
to
your
it a lot.
genres.
I
I
mean,
don't know your genres.
yeah, whatever. Yeah, what's your pick?
Top album of the year?
I mean, not top album, or just an album you think deserves more attention.
Oh god. Well, I mean, okay. Officially, because there was a recent huge upset, and St. Vincent's Mass Seduction just like leapt to the top of my list. But also, for real, Prozac's Forever 1999 is a great album. It is really, really
Is
good.
that a new one?
What?
Is that a new one?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. They dropped an album
Great,
and
you're
went on
not-
tour this year.
Because why not?
It's 20. Yeah.
Okay, I have a recommendation, although I realize it might have come out late 2016, but I think it's 2017, and that is for Peak Vancouver, Delhi to Dublin. It came out with a live album, and this is what happens when you mix lady fiddlists with Bhangra music. And it's amazing!
It does sound really good.
It's so good.
I just saw in the chat somebody mentioned Alex Lahey and Love You Like a Brother. I just discovered that album this week, and I really like it a lot. So it's on there.
I have so many.
Yeah, I know.
But I actually found a lot of the new music that came out here a little disappointing. I was very disappointed by the new Arcade Fire album after they released 2 pretty darn good singles. Like
Right, that was this year.
Creature Comforts is an amazing song. And I heard
Yeah,
that song
it
and I
is.
was like, if the whole album is even half of this good, this is going to be a great album. Turns out the whole album is maybe a tenth as that good.
Yeah.
Like the Infinite Content, the song is literally the worst thing they've ever recorded.
Wow.
I really like Arcade Fire. I sort of realized this sort of late, and I was like, oh, this is very good.
Yeah.
This has been my year of listening to music and like really liking music that I shouldn't normally like, because I have a bunch of stupid. I have Apple Music because I got burned so bad on Rdio that I was like, I'm going with a service that will never die. Apple will never let their own streaming music service die. Spotify could shut down one day, but if you can't sort by year, so I have to remember, did this album come out this year? So my first pick is Ty Segall's, Ty, Segall. He's put out multiple self-titled albums. I know this is how confusing this is, but this is his 2017 one, is really good. The other album that I really liked that came out this year was the Father John Misty album. And normally I am not a Father John, okay, that's not true. I actually quite like Father John Misty.
Yeah.
Pure Comedy is so good
People
though.
had a capital O opinions about that album. And,
I'm not a lyrics person, but the lyrics on that album are so good. Pure Comedy is amazing.
Yeah.
And there was one other one that I was looking through. Oh yeah, the new LCD sound system, which I was expecting not to be very good, is very good.
The new Stars album is phenomenal. I saw somebody mention Partner in chat. Partner is on my list of top albums as well. They make like the music that Sugar Cult and like Sum 41 made, but they're 2 queer ladies from Ontario, and it's all of my teenage dreams come true. It's just been a good year for music.
I don't remember if it was 2017 or if it was 2016, but Man Machine Poem by the Tragically Hip, I think was their final group album.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really solid album. Also, many of their previous albums are still good, but this one, they keep developing throughout their history. It was very good.
Oh, Matt, I need to talk to you about this because this is your favorite band. A Moon-Shaped Pool is so good.
Yeah.
It's phenomenally good. Like, I listened to it and I was really depressed at the time it came. I was like, oh, but it is amazing. Like, if you like that slow burn sort of Radiohead kind of song, like the Formula That Creep and like Street Spirit Fade Out, so many of the songs on that album start out quiet and slow and turn into these incredible, heart-focused, grandiose things, but the whole album level is just a little bit quieter, so it deserves... If you're going to walk around with some headphones or just listen quietly at your house, A Moon-Shaped Pool is probably the best album Radiohead has put out in years, and I'm afraid because it's the sort of the average volume is a little lower, that people did not pay attention to how excellent it was. Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy
is like my favorite song on the album.
It's phenomenal. It's
really
breathtakingly good.
I am not as big a fan of the album as it appears that you are.
I think it's fantastic.
I was a little let down by it to start. It's grown on me.
It's a grower, not a shower.
Yeah,
Like you listen.
it's grown on me, but it's still like I've really liked. I really liked King of Limbs.
I was like,
and I really liked In Rainbows. And so like this one is like it's a very different sound from both of those, and it's a little mellower than I was hoping for, which I think is what the like how it let me down. But every song on it is it knocks it out of the park for what it's doing.
Yeah, maybe I'm just like in the current headspace where it's like I literally just recommended a Father John Misty album, so maybe a Quiet Radiohead album is just my speed right now.
Yeah,
but
like it's super good. It's just less what I was looking for.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, there are some very. It's an emotionally cathartic album, which is interesting. There's a lot of intensity to the music, but it usually starts out quite quiet. And there's some very beautiful, like sort of more minimalist pieces on it that sort of build and stuff. But there's no just like barnstormers. Do you know? And you know what what I think is really funny is I think the worst song of that album is "True Love Waits," which is the one everybody was so excited about.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're like, finally an album version of True Love Waits. It's fine, but there's so many better songs on that album.
Yeah, but I am absolutely 100% with you that Tinker Tailor is the best song on that album, and like, just aces it. Like, it's so good.
It's so good. Ah, all right. So that was. Let's talk about music.
2.5 minutes of Radiohead in total in my whole life.
Oh, really?
I've never seen Blade Runner either. It's one of those big things where I'm like, I think it's too late.
No.
The shame will consume me.
No.
I feel like it's very important that none of us do the like, oh my god, you have to.
Hey, Alex.
But
I'm sure you've heard it all before. Like it's really good and incredibly influential.
Oh yeah, it's
so,
also
like,
really pretty to look at.
After you've seen it, you'll see like traces of it in everything you've
Oh
already
yeah.
seen.
Oh my god! Speaking of things that are really good and super influential, I ruined electronic. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking to I was talking to them about electronic music, and they really liked this one artist, and I can't remember who it was, and I wouldn't mention it anyhow because it would be rude. And I was talking to them. I was like, "Oh, if you like electronic music, you'd like this band, this band, and this band." And I was sort of doing my musical Sherpa, and one of the things, and I was like, because they're like, I like electronic music, but I don't really know where to start. And so, and then one of the things I mentioned, this was Christian on the camera crew last year for the documentary, and one of the things I mentioned was I was like, well, my favorite band is Boards of Canada, and he was like, oh, okay, I'll listen to that. You seem to know what you're talking about, and he liked another electronic band. And as it turns out, I hadn't listened to this band, and I won't name them for not being rude on camera. A lot of the things that this band does, they kind of cribbed from Boards of Canada, and Christian found that out, and he's like, when did these albums come out? I was like, 1998 and 2002, and he was like, oh. So I absolutely ruined something for Christian, and I felt very bad about it. Alex.